Alrighty, guys, another episode of Shellonomics. We're here by Dapper John. We're gonna call him Dapper John because that shit looks oh so dapper. So, John, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Awesome.
How's everything?
Oh, fantastic. John's another phenomenal TMNT collector. We've been buds for a while. He helped me out with my collection, including getting this Donatello Magic Crystal book I've been looking for a while. So I appreciate you helping me with that. So, what was your first introduction to turtles? How did this, love come to be?
I was a kid. I was probably about 12. My neighbor invited me over one time and said, "Hey, I got this new cartoon you should check out." And it was the new TMNT cartoon. So we watched that, and I was blown away. And I've got this weird infinity love for all things giant. So when Giant Krang was going through the city and they were fighting him, that was probably the most iconic thing that stole my heart. I'd say that was probably one of the definitive moments of the TMNT experience for me. And then after that, it was just down the rabbit hole. I went to a comic shop after that, had never been, and then found out about the Mirage series and TMNT Adventures, and so I started collecting those comics, and basically that's what kind of threw me into the collecting world. And then next thing you know, I just was collecting lots of different things. So
Good stuff. Now, you mentioned Giant Krang and you mentioned Giant. So, were the giant turtles in your collection and giant android Krang, I presume? Did you have all those growing up or later in life?
I mean, I had the Playmates one that they had. It wasn't really giant. It was just that bigger figure that had the Krang in there.
Yeah.
And then and I had all the toys. I mean, I collected practically almost all the stuff from the beginning of the run. And then at some point you fall out of it, and so I did, and I sold my stuff, which I regret, obviously, because this stuff's an arm and a leg these days.
Oh, yeah.
But then when I finally came back around and got back into it, I think I had collected and saved my box of Mirage comics, but I had sold or given away my Archie comics and, like I said, the toys and all that stuff. And I had so much of the merch back in the day. Like, my whole room was like a turtle shrine. It was crazy. And I boxed it up when college came calling, and then I decided, why am I holding on to this? And I sold it like a stupid person. But hindsight's 2020, right?
Well, the good thing is at least it wasn't your mom selling, or parents selling this stuff, because a lot of my buddies back in our day, they were giving away for quarters and 50 cents at garage sales, So at least I'm pretty sure you got at least more than a quarter or 50 cents for most of your stuff. So if you guys stick around for the end, John's going to show us the one-of-a-kind shredder in the box, and you got to stick around and check that out. So John, you've been collecting for a while. So what are some of your favorite pieces you've had in your collection?
Let me see. Working the magical camera thing here. I see. Okay. Sorry.
No, you're okay.
So this is one of my favorite pieces.
Oh, wow. Is that sick?
So trying to get less glare in it, but it's signed by everybody. It's a cell from the shredder is splintered. It's got all the turtles on there, the voice actors, and it's got Peter Laird, it's got Kevin Eastman, Renee Jacobs, Pat Fraley. Unfortunately, I never was able to get Peter Renaday on there, and then he passed away, so I was a little sad about that. But I've got like that particular thing with sending things to the mail where I get really nervous about it, and that piece is priceless and irreplaceable. So if it got lost or damaged, I would be beside myself. So unfortunately, that held me back when I should have probably just bit the bullet and took care of that. But and then of course James Avery had passed away, so no way to get his signature. But
so real quick, John, you actually met all those characters, all those voice actors and Eastman and Laird. Can you tell us what that was like to get those autographs?
Oh, they're real nice people. I've met many of them through the years. It's been an ongoing thing with the different conventions and everything. I always run into one or the other, and basically they're really nice people. Like, you couldn't ask for a nicer group of people. Cam Clark, Barry Gordon, Rob Paulson, Townsend Coleman, all really cool people. Renee Jacobs, she's a sweetheart. Pat Fraley, man, if you get to meet him, he doesn't come up very often, but he was there right when the con opened. He was dressed in a suit and really nice. I came by like 3 times because I was waiting on the rest of the voice actors to show up, and so we had a couple of conversations. And by the end of the con, he knew me by name, which was really cool. And just really, really nice guy. He did a little voice of Krang for me, which I have a video somewhere of, and just really, really cool because I always loved Krang, and he did the voice of I think Casey Jones as well, and he did the voice for I think Baxter. So he has a lot of different voices, but his most iconic is obviously Krang. And then I got this, which is James Avery signature from when he did the Charmed series.
Oh wow!
That's kind of, yeah. And then you wanted to know other
Yeah,
pieces
let's
of
take a look. Yeah,
art.
yeah. I call Pat Fraley the Mel Blanc of the Ninja Turtles cartoon. That guy had so many voices in that show. Oh wow, that's a sick piece.
Yeah, so this is the art piece that was used in the calendar 1993 or 1994. I forget exactly, but it was a collab piece that was Jim Lawson and Steve Bissett. So really cool piece. I've got a lot of inquiries on that over the years, but it's actually a unique piece too because it's not like on a regular original art paper. It's on like a canvas. They drew it on there, and this thing's actually painted, so it's a phenomenal piece. And so I am selling my collection, 99% of it.
Not that
Those
shirt
pieces.
though, right?
No, the shirt's gonna
Okay.
stay.
Okay.
This one I get a lot of compliments
Yeah, that
on.
one's awesome.
So let me see here. So pardon my mess. Got a lot of stuff. So I got this picture of April Eastman from the TMNT 3 movie premiere party. So I picked that up and from a fellow collector who was selling me stuff, and I got a piece of the house from
Is that the
where
farmhouse?
the what?
Was that from the farmhouse, the first movie?
No, the farmhouse is still there.
Oh, okay.
That's from the Northampton property in Dover, New Hampshire,
Oh, okay,
where
okay.
the turtles. And so he had a piece of the house, and he's like, "Hey, do you want this?" And I'm like, "Sure. What are we talking?" Basically, since I was doing so many deals, he kind of gave it to me for a really good price, and so yeah, I was pretty happy with that. And I'm thinking I've got a few buddies that do some cards and stuff, so I might actually slice that thing up and do like a limited edition card run where I offer it so it can be in a bunch of different homes for collectors or whatever. So
Oh, that would actually be really cool. Yeah, kind of like how game use jerseys are and whatnot nowadays for like sports memorabilia and stuff.
yeah, so it'd be, I don't know how fine I can cut that down, but I want to do as many as I can to so that people have a piece of history because I know I've got some dirt from the farmhouse. I got some dirt from the Dover property as well, where they actually leveled that house and it's a vacant lot, but then they did the TMNT 40th anniversary celebration, and they have a landmark there now that shows the site where the turtles were created. It's like a manhole cover, and it was really neat. I watched the dedication on online. It was really cool.
Oh man, awesome. So during your collecting years, as you're giving us the tour here, John, what advice can you give those viewers listening now who want to start up their own collection like you with the high maintenance pieces? Because a lot of your stuff is not going to be just costing them a Lincoln or a Washington. You're talking possible multiple Benjamins. So what would you advise those who are looking to get some big pieces like you have?
Well, first of all, you want to make sure that you have insurance on your pieces. So if you buy something that's pricey, make sure you talk with your insurance company. You know, people usually think car, house, and they don't realize that if, let's say, your house burns down, that it doesn't cover all those priceless collectibles you got in there. So you want to make sure that you get that insured, get a quote on it. That way, if something does happen, that it's sad to lose those memorable pieces, but it'd be even sadder if you lost the money you spent on those pieces. So just make sure you got a good insurance on them, and just make sure you're covered. Because other than that, I've got friends who've lost collections in house fires, and it's not pretty.
Oh gosh, yeah. That's a good tip. I never even thought of actually. Yeah, so even like in floods and stuff, like you're saying, it happened to us when we were kids. We had a flood and it got up to our knees. Now we didn't lose anything too valuable, but just a couple of stuffed animals. But yeah, you're right, that was not covered. So that's actually a real good advice there, John. Appreciate that.
No problem. As far as collecting goes, just have an idea what you want. Do a search. I know that I tirelessly searched the internet for stuff that I needed when I was 100% complete with my comic book collection. I had a list of what I wanted, and then I just kept looking and looking and plucking away, posting in the Facebook groups, and just basically, then eventually that list gets down. And I remember when I had like the last 10 on my list, it was really hard, but like I said, you'll persevere if you keep on plucking at it. And just obviously get an idea of what the market's like for stuff that you want, and that way you have a good idea so you don't overpay. eBay Sold is a good place to look for different selling listings. They've got different art sites. Cool Lines Art was where I picked up a few of my pieces. Just doing different searches where um, you've got the auction houses where they're constantly having pieces on there. And it just depends, like I found a few pieces of Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman on eBay. Just the guy had just listed them, right? Probably one of my most famous acquisitions is the original art for the Scat magazine. Now, this is the magazine that Kevin saw on the bus when he was in New Hampshire, and he was looking for work, and he saw this, thought it was really cool, went to the headquarters, um, was inquiring for work, and they like, hey, you seem like you got a lot in common with this guy named Peter Laird. Let's introduce you. And this is actually Peter Laird's cover and the original art that I found on eBay. So it's just kind of crazy. Picked up another one. That's another Peter Laird cover. So pretty neat. This is Return to New York, issue 20, I believe. It's a splash page which features Zog and the Turtles breaking into the Foot Clan headquarters to go fight Shredder. And I picked that up off of cool art, cool blue art lines or whatever. So sorry.
No, never heard of that one. And just for those who are tuning in and are unfamiliar with that story, that's exactly, if you look up the visual history of Ninja Turtles, it's exactly what John says. That book is what started the whole entire Turtle Madness and how those guys came together. That's a really cool piece you got there. I've never seen that what it looks like. I've only had the image in my head by reading the book on how they came to be. So that is the one. How'd you come up with that one again, man?
It was on eBay. They had that listed, and it was with another turtle piece that Laird had done. Actually, I still have it, but I did sell it. It's just waiting to go to its home. It's this piece here where they talk about the Better Business Bureau. Kind of neat. Kind of a unique piece.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
But yeah, and then I was going to show you. I got one of the prototypes for one of the action figures from the third movie. It's um, Princess Mitsu.
Now, how do you find prototypes? Because I know we're in some special groups that we can, some people get these prototypes, but can you actually share? You don't have to share like what group you found it in or how you found it, but I just share whatever you'd like to share for those who are listening for the first time with these vintage figures. That is a really cool piece.
Oh, thanks. So there's a group on Facebook called TMNT Prototypes, and you can join that, and it's all about prototypes, and sometimes they list stuff on there for sale. I just happened to see one posted in a group by a good friend, Eric Hartley, and he was selling it, so I inquired about it because at first I thought it was April, and I was mistaken because I never could really sit through the third movie because it was a little cheesy. But since then, I have watched the movie, and it's not as bad as I remembered as a kid, but still cheesy. But it was decent. I've actually got a prototype piece of April 2, which was never officially produced.
Really? So that was that supposed to come out with the movie Star Turtles and movie Star Splinter and movie Foot?
I don't really know.
Okay.
I just
I say April too. That's why I was thinking the Secret of the Use April. Okay.
yeah, it's the bust torso area of the figure that was never produced. I picked that up through Chris Fawcett. He's actually the admin for the prototype group.
Okay.
So he had put that for sale. I think he has the whole figure, and he just had the extra piece because sometimes they produce more than one. And so I got lucky and was able to acquire that. You wanted to see a few more things, so let me.
Yeah, before we get to that main event, I really want to see the Shredder in the box in action. But oh wow, that's a. And you said you did mention too while you were sharing this. You said your comic collection. What sort of vintage comics do you have from the turtle genre, and do you have any graded?
I don't have a lot. I sold my collection back when Last Ronin was really hyped up because it was going for a ton of money.
Okay.
And I said I would be a fool to not cash out. But I did keep a few things. So there was a turtle project for Heroes Initiative that had 100 books that were made by artists. This one's a Fred Hembick piece, one of a kind. You can see the Hero Initiative on the top corner there. And basically, it's in this book as one of the 100 books. So that's a pretty neat piece. And then I've got the infamous Turtle Mania 100 by Sad Lemon Comics, signed by Kevin and Tom Waltz. And basically.
Can you explain Turtle Mania? Because I don't even know what Turtle Mania is.
Oh, so Turtle Mania, they did a. Hold on, let me show you real quick while I got on here. But as you can see, it's labeled 12 out of 10 because they were trying to replicate the whole. Basically, Turtle Mania was a convention where they did 10 gold books, which were sketched and signed by Peter and Kevin. And then there was 100 silver books, which were just signed by Kevin and Peter. And then there was, I want to say it was 1,000 books. And it was just a plain white book with no signatures or whatever. And basically that was all done at a comic convention to celebrate the Turtles back when they only had a few issues out. I want to say they had 5 issues or something like that, but it's really just a book that showcases some of the art that they did and talks about print runs like the 3,000 books for the first printing, and it gives a backstory and everything. But the biggest thing on that is the 10 books that are gold are extremely rare, and they go for like 10,000 to 100,000. It's just crazy because there's only 10 in existence, so they're a lot rarer than the original first print of 3,000 copies. So that's why they go for a lot more money than the original. Is people who are complete feel they're not complete without one of those gold books. And quite frankly, we know where 9 of them are. The 10th one has nobody seems to know where it's at. So it's either buried in somebody's collection or got destroyed in a fire or something.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But
Or grandma took it and didn't know when they were cleaning the house. Something.
yeah, it gets it in the collection years later. You
Yeah.
never know.
Right.
So what happened was for issue 100, Sad Limit Comics decided they were going to replicate the 10 issues, right? So you have to do a certain print run through IDW, and so I think they had like 100 copies that they had made, and they literally destroyed them on video to show everybody that there was only going to be 10. And they had 11 because one was like an artist proof that they wanted to keep.
Okay.
So that's why that book I have says 12 out of 10, because it's a joke and kind of a stick to Simon, who runs Sad Lemons, because we talked and I said, dude, IDW gives comps to all the artists who work on the book. So even though you destroy all your copies except for 11, there's still going to be more out there. And I think the official number that I've seen is around 50 books. So he wasn't able to destroy them all. And I did that as a joke. Michael Dianalis, I think I butchered that. He's one of the artists. So he did a April squeezing the lemon as a kind of a rub towards Sad Lemon, like, you guys are dumb.
Ah, so that's where that came from. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so it's kind of a joke towards the Sad Lemon people, because what they did, they actually just artificially inflated the price of that book because they destroyed all the copies, really.
Oh, jeez. Bummer, bummer, bummer. Well, still a nice piece to have. So it seems like you're more of the comic. How about figure wise? Did you have any of the rare figures that, since you say, I mean, I know you said you're saying farewell, but did you have any of the scratches or the hot spots or the hard to find ones from our vintage era?
I had a April fan club. They did an air, because originally the 4 turtles were the only ones that were supposed to have the fan club flyers.
Right.
And so they have a few of the other figures that got them. Like there's a Shredder, Bebop Rocksteady, Splinter, and all that. I think the only one that didn't have one was the Foot Clan.
Oh, okay.
Of the original 10, but all the other ones had them, and they're errors. And I did own a April, which I think there was only like a handful in existence or whatever. So that was probably the rarest figure I've had other than my prototype.
Awesome. All right, guys, we're getting to the main event now. It's time to see this Shredder in the box, unless you got a couple more pieces to show, man. I appreciate you coming on. And while we're doing this, John, do you want to plug any socials if people want to check out more of your collection? Are you on Instagram or any of those sites?
I've got some pictures on TMNTOA collection. Basically stands for TMNT Original Art Collection. It's not a big site, but you can get a hold of me through there. I'm also on Facebook. A lot of people know me from the TMNT Art Collector group. Basically, I'm one of the admins on there. So if anybody needed to get a hold of me, you could reach out to me there. That's probably the best option. But yeah, I had this custom piece done. It's called Shredder Attack in the Box, and it's done by Steve Casino. He's a guy on Instagram who does a lot of custom stuff for the nerd community. Basically, he did a Andy Warhol Jack in the Box, and that's what gave me the idea. And so I messaged him, we chatted, and I just said, hey, you know what I'm thinking is Shredder Jack in the Box. And so we talked, and he came up with the Shredder Attack in the Box name, and I just sent him a bunch of pictures for the Jack in the Box to put around the box. So you got some of the turtles, and you got a bunch of Shredders, and the iconic Shredder who's coming out of the TV from the NES game is on there. And so, and he just kind of designed it, and We did try to get the music box to play like the
Wind them up.
TMNT.
Oh, okay.
But when you turned it, I wanted it to play the TMNT theme, but
Yeah.
since it's not something that was produced, it was really hard and we couldn't find one. So I'm sure I could have made one or figured it out, but it is what it is. It just plays the Jack in the Box music, and then he pops out. And...
Can we see? Can we see it? Can we see it live? He's not too old. I want to check this out. This is actually something that nobody else will see unless you're a fan of John and his Instagram page here, guys. This is what's cool about the Ninja Turtle fans that we meet during our podcasts and face group friends that we have. Just the rare stuff that you guys have and the creativity. So this is it almost looks like one of the, if you remember the show Mr. Rogers, it almost looks like one of those hand puppets too. They did such a really sharp job here.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the NES thing. All right, let's see if we can wind this dude up here. Oh, that's dope.
Push him in there.
There he goes. Okay.
He's a little tight fit, so sometimes he wants to just pop out of the box without the music.
He doesn't like being in there because it's the Technodrome. He's used to being in the Technodrome. This is a real itty bitty living space. He feels like the genie in Aladdin now.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries. We'll be able to pop you back in, I'm sure.
And it's having some issues.
Nah, okay, no problem.
He's a custom piece, so he doesn't always want to go in the box the best way. So.
No worries. I just appreciate you giving us a nice little Blim 360 view of all of them, just showing all, like you say, the cartoon spot where he's in the episode right there in dead center. Oh, here he comes. Let's see if he comes out. When the evil Shredder attacks, there he is. That is awesome. Oh my god! Yeah. He's even got the claws. Oh yeah, can we get a closer look? I just want to see just the detail. Oh, look at the eyebrows. Wow, it's they even got the cape. Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
I hope that stays with you for the rest of your life, John. Unless you have some children you want to pass it on to. Oh, you have some. See, there's some vintage toys. You got the OG Technodrome. Got the cave. Now, do you have all the cave, or just did you just want to keep Donatello for just like I guess is he your favorite turtle or?
Yeah, Donatello's my favorite, so I tend to gravitate towards more things with him. So purple hat, my homage to probably the best turtle, and a lot of people argue, but you just got to remember, yes, you got the attitude of Raph, Michelangelo's the party dude, Leonardo's the leader, obviously, but at the end of the day, if you want something done and you need something cool to do it with, you got to talk to Donatello because he's got the van. Without Donatello, you don't have any of the cool turtle stuff. There's no van. There's no blimp. He's not. You guys aren't beating the giant Krang. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, he pretty much. I'm more of a Mikey guy, but I believe you're right. If he wasn't around for any of those, at least for our episodes in the OG cartoon, I don't think they would have won 60% of those fights with Shredder and all those technological warfares, because he pretty much was there for all of them. And he's even got on my stream, I have one of my buddies is saying is when Donatello, I think it's the episode with Attack of the 50-Foot Irma where he chucks out something and he's like, I wonder what you guys would do sometimes without me. And that's exactly right. Who knows what they would be without him.
Exactly. I got a couple more pieces off show real quick.
Oh, rock on. No, please. We appreciate this.
So these have sold and are waiting to go to their new home, but I will do a quick show on them. I got to pull them off my wall because I said, well, if they're sold and they haven't left, they're going to stay on my wall.
Oh, exactly. While John's getting this ready for us, guys, be sure to like and subscribe at Shellonomics on YouTube and Spotify. And here we go. Ooh la la.
Yeah, these are uncut covers of the airs. So, this title should be on this title should be on this. And when they sent them to the printer originally, they mixed them up. And so there's only one book that made it to comic book, and that's the Tales cover. and then the other cover I acquired through Peter Laird when he was still doing conventions. So he signed both covers, and then I took him to a convention with Eastman and had him sign, and so they're dual signed. Pretty neat.
So,
And then
air covers. I've never even heard of those before, actually. That's a really wild piece. I never knew that for any comics that they, again, anybody wants to collect anything. And it's funny because those are, how old are those? That's from the original, like 1980 something, I would guess. For those,
yeah, probably 1988 or 89,
so
something
like
like that.
okay.
So, and then these are the old school mail-away iron-ons. So you got the logo from the Series 2. You got the rooftop.
Oh, can you explain what the iron-on is, John? It's actually new to me too. At what like are these like fat egg Klingons or yeah, if you can explain what those are.
Yeah, so you take a blank shirt and then you'd have these, and you would iron on. Basically, you would take an iron and you would go over the back of the image a few times until it heated up, and then it would transfer the ink from the paper onto the shirt.
Oh wow, okay.
So there's another logo. This one's signed by Kevin, and then the really hard to find Fugitoid.
Oh, he looks so good. He looks just like that in the 2003 TV series. That's a really good drawing of him there.
Yeah, no, these are super hard to find. I luckily found a collector who was selling the whole 1985 collection, so I picked that up, and then I got lucky, and Steve Levine found the Fugitoid and a few other ones, and so I got the logo and the Fugitoid off of him. So that basically completed my iron-on collection. I had a pre-production piece for an iron-on, but I sold it, so I don't have that to show anymore.
Oh, those are some crazy pieces. So you actually got to meet Steve Levine, Eastman, Laird. Wow, and you. Oh man, that's a. Oh whoa, what is that one?
That's just Peter Laird that Peter drew and Steve Levine colored. So it was with the iron-on, so I figured I'd show it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got lots of stuff still, just working on. Like I said, selling my collection. I'm gonna keep maybe like 4 or 5 pieces, and yeah, I'll still have the turtles in my heart, and just have a few pieces that I like.
Yeah. So as we bring this in for landing, John, tell us your favorite Ninja Turtle story. Be it just like a memory with your family and friends, or just like your greatest piece that you never thought you would own, and it's like I finally have this.
Okay. I'd say probably one of my greatest experiences in the turtle community was Granite Comic Con, Granite State Comic Con. It's in New Hampshire, so I went there. I got to meet Jim Lawson and Kathy Lawson for the first time. Really great people. Actually blew my mind because Kathy, I had been talking with Jim, and so she knew me through my interactions with him, and I had never talked to her or met her. And I walked up to his booth, and she just took one look at me and went, "John," and I'm like, "Whoa!" Like mind blown. Like, "Hi," and then she's like, "Oh yeah, I see. You look just like your profile picture on your messenger." And I said, "Oh, okay." So really nice people. Met Steve and Dee Levine there. Met. I see Kevin a lot because he travels, so that wasn't a first for me. But just met a lot of good friends like Peyton Holland, Randy MacArthur, the Bills, as people know in the community. I can't pronounce their last name because sorry, but everybody knows who the Bills are. So, but just met a lot of top-notch stand-up people that made me proud to be a turtle collector and to be a part of a group of people like that. And yeah, so that's probably my best memory. I've got a lot of different memories over the years, and just real grateful to be a part of this community because there's a lot of fandoms out there, and I'd say the turtles is one of the least toxic ones that I've experienced. But don't get me wrong, they've got their moments too. There's different aspects that can cause people to get a little salty. So, but yeah, that's pretty much my best memory.
No, I agree with that, John. From my experience too, we've had these guys around for 40 years, and I really can't share too many, bad eggs that ruin a dozen, in my opinion. From groups to just like you said, the original two, Laird and Eastman. Lead by example. You say those guys are always pleasant to meet in person. You've met the voice actors, Rob Paulson. You've met Pat Fraley, Cam Clark, Downey, Renee Jacobs, all those people, and like you say, just collecting back and forth, and now. I'm sure your big wish is whoever's getting these pieces from you, you hope they go to good homes, which is where they should be. And John, I really appreciate your time here, and hopefully I'll check out some more of that shredder in the box on your Instagram. And if you ever do get, like I say, just another piece here, just thank you again for showing us this, and appreciate the advice with that insurance too. I'm gonna have to look into that if I ever find any rare pieces. So you have a good one, John. Thanks again for your time, my man.
All right, yeah. If anybody has any questions or wants to chat, like I said, I'm on the Facebook and you got my Instagram. So, like I said, just shoot me a message, and if you need some advice or if you got questions, I'll be happy to answer any of that. Thanks, everybody.
You
Have
got
a
it,
good
John.
night.
Take care.